Hello and welcome back to Omen Exitio Plague. We are at the strenuous fight of the little men. I don't know what that means, but I don't like that the fight is strenuous. You are lying in your hut and staring at its thatched palm roof, losing yourself in thoughts about the upcoming mission and its obvious dangers. Yeah, I feel like if I don't die, somebody's gonna. Then your thoughts turn to something else, something which you've ignored since your first regained consciousness on this island. How the hell did you even get here? For real? Like, how did that even happen? How did I not die? Now you have an idea of where you are, the answer seems utterly impossible. When the Serenity became lost in the fog, it had been heading towards South America, but this island is not in the Caribbean. When you saw the stars on the first night, you got a shock. Oh? Where are we at? At first, you could not recognize a single constellation, until, that is, you knew what to look for. The constellations of the southern hemisphere. You seem to be on a Polynesian island in the middle of the Pacific. How in the fuck? It is already astounding that you should have survived, let alone have made such a journey while unconscious. Your thoughts are interrupted by the entrance of Ayada, whose face appears as she pulls his curtain to one side. How are you, Jake? Ayada takes a few slow steps towards you and sits at your side. Let's be honest. I am too. There's silence for a few moments. I mean, we do have to do it. There's no choice. Of course, it is life and death, but will we be able to do it? No. What do you want me to say? Ayada looks at you, her face overcast with doubt. She's starting to think that you have no hope of success. We have to at least try. Yeah, we have to at least try, for Fuego's sake. That poor child, I wonder what they're doing. Nothing good. Ayada's eyes filled with tears. They won't even notice us, and we will rescue Fuego. I will just comfort her. I will not tell her to trust me, because, frankly, I have no idea what's going to happen here. I really hope so, Jake. Ayada says goodnight and leaves your hut. You watch her as she leaves, as her face and her movement. You're unable to allay her fears, but she nonetheless seems to trust you. She's a strong woman, and you're quite sure that she will do whatever is necessary for your mission to succeed. Oh, I failed in the Chivo. Was I supposed to lie to her, I guess? Well, I'm not gonna do that. The darkness of the forest is only broken by moonlight when there are gaps in the trees, and when there are, you look up to see the heaven full of stars, far more than in the northern hemisphere. Ayada is leading the way with a determined stride. Behind you are the men who you were successful in recruiting for this mission, all following cautiously and in total silence. I mean, we could have a little bit of small talk, but okay. You come to the outcrop which juts out over the cult's campsite and stop to observe the situation. Everything is silent. The camp is asleep. They know the superstitious nature of the islanders. They assume that they do not need fortifications or surveillance. Well, that's stupid of them. I mean, I guess we don't have cameras and shit yet, so whatever. You start walking down the narrow path that leads to the beach. The biggest of all the wood and corrugated iron buildings is in the center of the camp. You suspect that is where they're keeping Fuego and the other kidnapped villagers. You quickly reach the camp and have no problems getting close to the central hut. However, when you get there, you see that it is guarded by a heavily built man. He has large muscles and thighs like tree trunks. Every so often, he gets up, circles the building, then sits back down again. His presence confirms your initial guess that this is where they are keeping the prisoners. Regarding combat, I don't think we're ready to do combat yet. I would just, let's just look for the right moment to get through. Amana takes the lead. He watches the guard carefully, studying his movements, then he selects the right moment to slip unnoticed into the building, gesturing for you to follow. Good. Inside, the building is mostly bare. There are some shelves, the walls full of objects and containers. An object there immediately strikes your attention. It looks like a syringe, but not like any syringe you've ever seen. Oh, is that for taken? Is that one of them ones that are for taken? You pick it up and hold it to the light. Yes, it really is a syringe, but it has more than one needle. It has a brass mounting with 4 tiny needles arranged in a shape that you recognize immediately. Oh, I see. An injection with this instrument would certainly leave the strange marks that you saw on the backs of the heads of the sick in Zanzibar. Yeah. So do they have to directly administer that to make the plague happen? It's not a very effective plague if it can't go in any other way. Surely not. You shiver involuntarily at the memory and put the strange syringe in your pocket. You return to looking around. At the far end of the room, there are several camp beds, but they are all empty. Then Ayada silently attracts your attention and points to a large trapdoor on the floor. Here we go. When you open it, a terrible stench hits your nostrils. Straight away, you recognize that sickeningly sweet and nauseous smell. It is the smell of illness and death. You take a lantern from one of the shelves and go through the trapdoor and go down the ladder below it. It would probably be very good for somebody to stand guard. Amana was the one that was the good observer. Maybe the person... Maybe the person that could put up a fight should stand guard, do you think? That was... Orange Man. Is that Tahatoa? Excellent. As a tender sick brother in the event of physical Tahatoa. I'm thinking I'm going to leave him here. And the reason being is that I would say, like, if one of them come, then it would be good if the person there could fight them off. So I want to do that. The big Polynesian man goes over to stand confidently near the door. You can count on me. Good, good. You descend the few steps with some difficulty and find yourself in an underground room. It is at least as wide as the building, if not more. The smell is now unbearable. There are several men and women. Shining the light from the lantern towards them, you see that they are the missing villagers. Many of them are covered head to toe with the sores typical of the disease you saw in Zanzibar. So that's what the cult is doing. Infecting these people? Using them as guinea pigs? I guess so. A small figure steps forward from this horrific scene. Amano lets out a muffled cry. It is Fuego. He is no longer the cheeky, sprightly boy that you've come to know. He's been ravaged by the disease. The chief picks him up and takes him in his arms, then looks at you worriedly. You touch the boy's forehead and discover that he is feverish. Your eyes travel immediately to the back of his head, and yes, the mark is there. You look at the others. They are greatly weakened by the disease, and they will not be able to climb the ladder to escape. You promise that you will return for them, and as you ascend the ladder with Fuego... Oh, are we just really leaving them all behind? That sucks. You start thinking about how you might do this. When you climb out of the trapdoor, you find your companion waiting. In one corner lies the guard, who must have come to and tried to get... Yep. Who must have come to and tried to get into the building. And in the dark, you cannot tell if he's asleep or unconscious, but it matters little. As you're leaving the building, you hear indistinct noises coming from the camp. It may be that they have heard you, or perhaps it's just time to change turns for the guard. You can't be certain either way, but you cannot take any chances. Still carrying Fuego, you run out of the camp as fast as you can. You're running through the dense vegetation of the jungle, trying to put as much distance as possible between yourself and the camp. You cannot help thinking of the poor diseased villagers locked underground and that you were unable to save them. Oh, was there really nothing I could do there? That sucks. How the dreams of little men drown. That sounds nice. I like that. When at last you get back to the village, dawn's first light is turning the sea a deep pink color. You are still holding Fuego in your arms, and he is boiling hot. He hasn't said a word since you left the cult's campsite. Ayada looks at him now with growing anxiety. I got an achievo. I did something. I did something with my life. You feel something sharp in your thigh. You put your hand into your pocket and can feel small, sharp shards of... the syringe broke during your escape. It's now useless, so you throw it away. Well, what's the fucking use of that? All of a sudden, Fuego starts convulsing in your arms. He's having a seizure. You take him inside the hut, which by now you think of as yours, and lay him on the bed. You must try to somehow bring his temperature down and stabilize him, but it will take time, and you know that very soon the cult will already be on their way. Okay, I got some points to spend. Oh yeah. I got the best medicine in the world, right? Right? I can do this? Yeah! What do you mean you failed an achievement? How did I fail an achievement when I succeeded? What was that fucking achievement? You could not save both children, Fuego and Scott, from the disease. Where the fuck is Scott? I don't know who that is. I don't understand. Okay. Oh, I remember. I remember Scott. After nearly an hour of trying, you finally succeed in bringing down Fuego's temperature. Now he's sleeping calmly, but you cannot be sure whether you've done enough. Amada is at the door of the hut, watching you with serious and passive eyes. We ought to prepare to defend the village. We have no real way to defend ourselves from those men. We have to leave now. You agree with Ayada. She tells you that there's a small island a few hours away by canoe where you could go to hide. She says that she had proposed the idea to the other villagers several times, but nobody would listen. Why not? What? That seems like a great idea. Perhaps the current situation in which you've inadvertently created might convince them otherwise. Organize. Yeah, let's get everybody going. There are pierogies on the northern beach. There should be enough for everyone. Without knowing our route, it will take many days for them to find us. Good! There's not much choice. Ooh, do I have the point? I don't have the points for more. Ooh, it's gonna be close. I feel like it's gonna be close. I'm gonna try it. Yeah! Listen, everyone. The Ratu, are on their way to attack the village. This time they are not coming to take a person, but to kill us all. The villagers gather around, listening with a mix of incredulity and fear. They do not have magical powers, but they do have weapons and terrible poisons. Again, we should probably stop saying that they don't have magical powers, because I frankly believe that they do. They are using the kidnapped men to test their poisons, and when they die, they throw their bodies on a fire. We found those who are still alive, imprisoned underground. They will not be alive for very much longer. Ayada confirms what you're saying. You and Ayada are getting ready to escape. You must be prepared to leave as quickly and as easily as possible. You are able to organize an orderly evacuation. Excellent. Things are going really well, and that makes me scared. The villagers are following you silently through the dense jungle. You've gone far, though, before you see, directly ahead, a company of cultists armed with rifles. The rifles are already loaded and aimed straight at you. Oh. Ayada quickly grabs your hand and pulls you into the cover of an area even denser vegetation. The people of the village are not so lucky. You see many of them fall to ground under the barrage of rifle shots. Well, fucking shit! You do not even have time to think. Some of the cultists are already running through the clouds of gunpowder smoke looking for you. Yeah, I'm starting to think that going for all of these checks is not in fact the way. It really seems like maybe you should just not sometimes. Come on, we have to hide. Through the chaos of gunpowder smoke, screaming, and people running, you see someone approach you slowly. Fuego. He seems to be completely recovered. You snatch his hand, and all three of you set off running as fast as you can. Ayada leads, pulling you through the vegetation, holding your hand ever more tightly and not looking back. You change direction several times. You do not slow for even a moment. Despite nearly falling several times and having your skin ripped to shreds by thorns and sharp branches, Fuego, despite his recent sickness, fares much better than you. A cliff suddenly opens up before you. Ayada pulls you close to her and guides you through the narrow space between the cliff face and the trees, until you come to a small cave and you crawl inside. You would never have suspected the existence of this large hole in the rock, and it should be almost impossible to find. I don't believe it. Again, you feel a strong sense of guilt, like a knot in your stomach. Images of the massacre flash through your mind, and you cannot help but think that it is all your fault. A little bit. You try to wriggle into a new position within the confined space of the cave. You've been here for hours, and every part of your body is aching. The idea was that, after sufficiently long enough time, the cultists would come to the conclusion that you are as dead as the rest of the village. It is a thought that only reinforces your sense of guilt. The sun is disappearing over the horizon of the ocean. Ayada is holding Fuego in her arms. He obviously has less physical difficulty being in this confined space, but he had just recovered from the disease when he had to witness the deaths of all the people closest to him in the world. Nonetheless, his face is composed, even a little proud. Good for him. I'm glad I could save one of the kids. Sorry, Scott. I didn't do nearly enough medicine back in the day. Night has fallen. It's been several hours since you last heard the shouts and other noises of the cultists searching the jungle. It is reasonable to suppose that they have by now abandoned their search, thinking that they've killed everyone, or that if anyone has escaped, they are long gone. You leave the cave and move silently towards the beach where the canoes are. Fortunately, you are still extremely cautious because near the pierogies there are 2 armed cultists. I think observation is probably going to be the way. Can I level it up again? I can't. I will. Hopefully that's enough. I don't know. Yes. Okay. The men still seem to you to have a military bearing. You tell Ayada to be ready. According to your observations of their movements, one of them will soon go off to patrol the other side of the beach, and that will be the moment to move. The 2 cultists have been immobile and silent for some time when one pulls something from his coat pocket. You cannot see what it is until his face is illuminated by the small flame which lights his cigarette. His partner starts walking away, probably to patrol the other side of the beach. This could be your only chance. I'm so agile, I can do this. I'm gonna knock his ass out. Fuck him. You creep slowly and cautiously down the beach, coming up on the man from behind. When he hears something and turns, it is too late. An uppercut to the jaw sends him flat on his back on the sand, and a few more punches make sure that he's down. Good, fuck him. It seems they were determined to stop anyone from escaping. They've damaged the canoes to make them unusable. God damn it. Upon further inspection, you find one pierogi which is less damaged than the others, and should still float. It won't be able to carry all 3 of you, though. You shake with anger and frustration. You are so close. God damn it. No! No! Go. Fuego knows the way. You angrily refuse. You've been arguing about it for some time when you both suddenly realize that Fuego has gone. Ayada stops herself, shouting with her hand. No. You look for him in vain. That brave, stubborn boy made the difficult decision for you. You keep looking for him until the sky begins to brighten. Despite your suffering, you can't let his sacrifice be in vain. Well, goddamn. Things are not coming up, Millhouse. Ayada, silently weeping, helps you push the pierogi into the water. With a sigh, you sit and pick up your paddle. With a heavy heart, you drift away from the island. The sun reflects off every single wave. You're surrounded by the immensity of the ocean. You have no conception of how much time has passed, and you're lying dazed in the pierogi. Your skin is taut, cracked and burnt by the unrelenting sun. Thirst has overtaken you, and you have no strength to paddle whatsoever. The boat is now at the mercy of the wind and currents. You do not understand how it happened, but at some point Ayada lost her bearings. Well, goddamn. It might have been the pain of losing Fuego, the panic of the escape, or perhaps it was just that the current altered your course and she didn't notice. Whatever the reason, it means that instead of reaching the island you had intended, you are now drifting helplessly, surrounded by an infinite expanse of flat water. With great effort, you manage to lift your head. You look at Ayada, who is lying in the other part of the canoe. It looks like she's breathing, but you cannot be certain. It may just be the slight rise and fall of the ocean. You let your head fall back down. It is too hard to keep it raised for long. Suddenly, your fingers feel wet. At first you suspect it is your mind playing tricks on you, but then it feels increasingly real. Is the pierogi sinking? You lift your hands to see that it is not water on your fingers, but blood. Why are we bleeding? Oh, I understand. In front of you, Helen is splayed out on the bed. The sheets are soaked in blood, and it keeps flowing from her mouth, body, and eyes like red tears. Why didn't you save me, Jake? Instinctively, you want to scream. I don't actually know what happened, though. I assume that this is not what happened. Let's go closer. You take a few steps towards Helen. The blood is now flowing faster. The whole bed is red, but is it because of the blood, or is it the color of the sheets? Jake, please don't leave me. She opens her arms. She is beautiful again. The one in front of you now is your Helen, as you remember her. Helen, why the fuck are you doing this bullshit? I'll embrace her. You embrace your wife. You can feel her warmth and her scent. It really is her. You hold her tightly in your arms. A sound, starting low, begins to rise up. You catch movements out of the corner of your eyes as if something is crawling inside the walls of your bedroom. The movement seems to grow, and now the walls are pulsating slowly, as if something living is pushing on them from behind. You try to warn Helen to extricate yourself from her embrace so that you can escape this latest threat, but her arms keep a vice-like grip on you, like the jaws of a trap. She whispers into your ear. "Shh, my love, do not be afraid. There was this being made of millions of parts which crawled inside me, and you just let it happen. Now you must let this being crawl inside you too." Oh, I don't wanna. The walls begin to crack, and the cracks begin to spread and widen. Through the cracks emerge terrible black shapes like tendrils searching to suffocate the air itself. As they slowly grow out of the walls, they begin to look like roots or tentacles. Then you become aware that they are not moving, growing randomly. They are reaching towards you. A sharp pain tears you from the nightmare. Perhaps you had some sort of seizure in your dream, because now your whole body is racked with painful cramps. You feel a tremendous heat, but it is not the sun. It is inside your body. It is fever, and it is rising. That's not good. You try to sit up and call to Ayada, but the canoe is rocking. With great difficulty, you clutch the edge of the boat and haul yourself up. The sea is calm, but you see Ayada leaning over the sea. She has sunstroke and has probably gone mad in the heat. You try to shout to stop her, but you're too late, and you watch her fall overboard. This isn't going well. This feels like I'm about to die. With all the effort you can possibly muster, you try to reach out to her, but you're physically incapable of moving. She floats, almost motionless, at the surface of the water. She doesn't even have the energy to pull her head out of the water. You make another desperate attempt to grab her foot, but you lose consciousness and fall back into the boat. The last image you see is Ayada's body drifting away. Well, god damn! Life isn't going so well. I feel like I've lost everything. Where do I go from here? You come to and pass out again several times. When you find yourself again conscious, you try to open your eyes and to move, but you're unable. When you are finally able to open your eyes, it is night. It is much cooler, and the drop in temperature relieves your pain somewhat. Your physical pain, at least. You think sorrowfully of Ayada, of Fuego, and all the villagers. All the lives you were unable to save. Like Helen's, too. You cough, and the sudden movement gives you searing pain in your chest, your shoulders, and your arms. Perhaps your time has come. You close your eyes. You are ready. When you open your eyes again, you see little tongues of mist reaching out over the sides of the pierogi. Then you black out again. Oh! A loud and violent noise brings you back to consciousness. It takes you some time to recognize what it is. The foghorn of a ship. Your little pierogi is suddenly hit by a large waves, despite the total lack of wind. There's another foghorn blast just before you lose consciousness yet again. Something big is coming. Ooh! Alright. I think I'm gonna leave it there. Because that's a great downer ending. So I'm pretty sure that we've just been captured by the cult. And I don't think they're going to be too happy with what we've been doing lately. And I don't know what to do about that. Oh, it's getting really bad. Which is appropriate given the whole genre we're in. But we're like losing everything. Who do we even like? What do we do? What do we do? All we have is our character sheet. At least we're healthy. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. It's getting real dark. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, come back and see me next time. Goodbye.